There are cities in America that do not appear on any public map. Not because they were too small to matter, not because they were abandoned before cartographers arrived, because someone in a government office made a decision, stamped a document, issued an order, and removed them. Some were erased for national security. Some were taken by eminent domain and demolished so completely that nothing remained to mark. Some housed programs the government did not want the public asking about. Some still exist today, operating behind fences and security clearances, home to thousands of people whose address is officially classified. These are 12 secret cities the US government erased from maps. And number 1 is still operating right now, with a population larger than some state capitals, and you cannot find it on Google Maps. Number 12, Panal Air Park, Arizona. Most people who hear the name think it's an airport. It is not just an airport. Panal Air Park sits in the Sonoran Desert south of Phoenix, and on the surface, it functions as an aircraft storage and maintenance facility, a boneyard for commercial planes waiting to be repaired, repurposed, or stripped for parts. Hundreds of aircraft lined up in the desert heat. What it also is, and what took decades of investigative journalism to partially confirm, is a long-time hub for CIA aviation operations. During the 1980s and 1990s, aircraft registered to front companies with no publicly traceable ownership passed through Panal Air Park regularly. Some of those aircraft were later connected to CIA operations in Central America. During the Iran-Contra era, the facility appeared in court documents. It appeared in congressional testimony. It never appeared on official government maps as anything other than a private airfield. It is still operating. The planes are still there. And the portion of its operations that involves government contracts and classified aviation work remains exactly as documented and exactly as unexplained as it has been for 40 years. A place that is visible from the highway, that you can see on satellite, that officially does not do what multiple federal investigations have suggested it does. Number 11, Pur Point, Maryland. On the northern shore of the Potomac River, there is a patch of federal land that does not appear by name on any publicly available map. It shows up as restricted federal property. No label, no description, no indication of what it contains. It contains a signals intelligence facility operated by the National Security Agency. Pur Point, the name itself appears only in leaked documents and FA requests, is one of a network of NSA listening stations positioned along the eastern seaboard. Its function, as described in partially declassified documents, involves monitoring communications traffic moving through the Washington corridor. What makes Pur Point notable is not its function. Signals intelligence facilities exist everywhere, but the precision of its erasure. Adjacent properties are labeled on every public mapping service. Roads leading to it are labeled. The river beside it is labeled. The facility itself is a blank space, a deliberate hole in the public record surrounded on all sides by named documented geography. The NSA has never officially acknowledged it by name. The land records listed under a federal holding designation with no operational description. A building full of people doing classified work, invisible on every map, in the middle of a river valley where everything else has a name. Number 10, Mount Weather, Virginia. This one has been partially declassified, but partial declassification is not the same as transparency. And what has been confirmed about Mount Weather is strange enough without the parts that haven't been. Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center sits inside a mountain in Clark County, Virginia, 48 miles from Washington, D.C. It was built in the 1950s as part of the Continuity of Government program, the plan for what happens to the federal government if Washington is destroyed in a nuclear attack. Inside the mountain is a complete duplicate government. A city, underground streets, cafeterias, a hospital, a power plant, water treatment, a television and radio broadcast facility, dormitories for every member of Congress, the cabinet, and the Supreme Court, office space for every major federal agency, everything needed to run the United States government from inside a Virginia mountain while the surface above was uninhabitable. For 25 years after its construction, Mount Weather did not officially exist. It appeared on no map. Congressional staffers with high security clearances had heard rumors of it, but could not confirm its location. The public had no knowledge of it at all. It was revealed accidentally in 1974 when a TWA flight crashed into the mountain during an approach to Dulles Airport. Rescue workers arrived and were stopped at a perimeter by security personnel who would not identify what the facility was. Journalists began asking questions. The existence was reluctantly confirmed without details. Today, Mount Weather is acknowledged. Its function as a continuity facility is a matter of public record. What is not public is its current capacity, its current population of permanent staff, or the specifics of what a 21st century shadow government inside a Virginia mountain is actually equipped to do. It is still operational. People live and work there. And for 25 years, it was the most important building in America that no one was allowed to know existed. Number 9. Happy Valley, Tennessee. There is a neighborhood in eastern Tennessee that was built in 1943, populated within months by thousands of families, and did not appear on any public map until 1949. It is called Oak Ridge today. In 1943, it was called Site X. And what was happening there was the production of enriched uranium for the world's first atomic bomb. But within Oak Ridge, in the residential areas built for the families of scientists and workers, there were further subdivisions that carried no names at all on any document available to the people living in them. Happy Valley was one, a hutment community built for the black workers who were recruited to build and maintain the facility but were housed in segregated, separate, and substantially worse conditions than white workers. Happy Valley did not appear on the maps of Oak Ridge that workers were given. It did not appear in the promotional materials the Army distributed to recruit workers. It existed, and the people in it existed, and what they were building was the same thing everyone else was building, except they were doing it from a community that the government had decided did not need to be acknowledged on paper. Oak Ridge itself was secret. Happy Valley was secret within the secret. A community erased from a map that was already erased from a map. Number 8. Dugway, Utah. In the West Desert of Utah, 85 miles southwest of Salt Lake City, there is a town of approximately 1,400 people. It has a school, a grocery store, a gas station, a community center, housing for families. Everything a small American town has. It does not appear on public road maps. The road leading to it is not labeled on standard navigation systems. If you type the address into a GPS, you will be directed to a gate where armed personnel will ask you who you are and why you came. Dugway Proving Ground is the U.S. Army's facility for testing chemical and biological weapons and defenses. The town inside it exists to house the military and civilian personnel who work there and their families. The families living in Dugway are American citizens living ordinary lives. Children going to school, parents going to work. Inside a military installation that tests nerve agents and biological agents and whose operations are classified at levels that prevent even partial public disclosure. The town is real. The people are real. The address is real. And if you are not on the list, you will not get through the gate. A community of 1,400 people living inside one of the most restricted pieces of land in the United States, in a town that does not appear on the map of the state they live in. Number 7. Echo, Nevada. Subscribe right now if this is what you watch for. New story every single week. Echo, Nevada is not the facility's real name. It is the name used in the documents that acknowledged its existence, briefly, partially in the context of a congressional inquiry, before those documents were reclassified. What is confirmed, there is a signals relay and communications interception facility operating in the high desert of Nevada, approximately 40 miles from the nearest named town, on land held by the federal government under a designation that does not identify its operational purpose. What is not confirmed its current function, its current staffing level, or whether the name Echo refers to the facility itself or to a code name assigned for the purposes of the inquiry. What satellite imagery shows a cluster of structures, antenna arrays, and a paved access road leading to a gate with a security perimeter. Standard infrastructure for a signals intelligence operation. No labels, no identifying markings visible from above. The NSA has not confirmed or denied. The facility does not appear in any public database of federal properties. The land records listed under a bureau designation with no operational detail. There is something in the Nevada desert that someone built and someone staffed and someone is operating right now. And the only reason anyone knows it exists at all is because a congressional document mentioned it once before being pulled from public access. Number 6. Muscle Shoals Sound, Alabama. This one is different from every other entry on this list. It was not erased for national security. It was erased for a different kind of government power, economic and political power. And the erasure was so complete that the communities it displaced have spent 90 years trying to reclaim their history when the Tennessee Valley Authority began constructing Wilson Dam and the Muscle Shoals Canal System in the 1920s and 1930s. The flooding and displacement required removed entire communities from the map. Small settlements, largely black communities that had existed along the Tennessee River for generations were bought out at government-assessed prices with no negotiation, relocated without support and removed from every official record of the area. The TVA produced maps of its service territory and the new landscape created by its dams and canals. Those maps did not show what had been there before. The community names did not appear. The displacement was not documented in any TVA publication available to the public. Researchers working in the 1990s and 2000s began finding the communities in census records, church records, and oral histories. They existed. They had names. They had cemeteries, some of which were relocated, some of which were not, and are now beneath the reservoir. A government infrastructure project that powered a region and erased without acknowledgement the people who had lived on the land it needed. Number 5. Indian Springs, Nevada. Indian Springs is on the map. The town is acknowledged. The Air Force base adjacent to it is acknowledged. What is not on the map is the facility operating from that base that has been the command and control center for the most active drone war in American history. Creech Air Force Base, adjacent to Indian Springs, is the primary operations hub for the U.S. Air Force's remotely piloted aircraft program. The pilots who fly Predator and Reaper drones over active conflict zones in the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia sit in air-conditioned trailers in the Nevada desert and operate aircraft 7,000 miles away. The base is not secret. Its existence is acknowledged. What is not on any public map is the network of facilities, relay stations, and satellite uplink infrastructure that makes the drone program function. A distributed system of classified installations spread across multiple states, none of which appear by operational name on any public document. The people of Indian Springs live next to the base. They see the aircraft. Some of them work on the base in civilian roles. They live ordinary lives in a small Nevada town adjacent to the nerve center of a classified air war. The town is on the map. What happens inside the fence is not. Number 4. Pasco Island, Washington. During the Manhattan Project, the production of plutonium for the atomic bomb required a facility of enormous scale. Reactors, chemical separation plants, and the infrastructure to support thousands of workers. Built in secret, in a location chosen specifically for its remoteness and its access to the Columbia River. The Hanford site in southeastern Washington was that facility. And to build and run it, the government constructed a series of worker communities that did not appear on any public map for the duration of the war. What is less known than Hanford itself is the scale of the parallel community infrastructure. Richland, the primary worker town, has been documented extensively. Less documented are the separate encampments built for construction workers, temporary cities of thousands of people existing for months or years, then demolished when their purpose was served, without ever appearing in any public record during their operation. One such encampment, known internally as the North Richland Construction Camp, housed over 15,000 workers at its peak in 1944. It had its own post office, its own medical facilities, its own recreational infrastructure. It was, by population, a medium-sized American city. It does not appear on any wartime map of Washington state. It appears only in internal Hanford Project documents that were declassified decades later. 15,000 people, an entire city, invisible by design. Number 3. Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The full story. Oak Ridge deserves its own entry beyond what was said about Happy Valley, because what the government built there is one of the most remarkable acts of deliberate geographic erasure in American history. In 1942, the Army Corps of Engineers arrived in Anderson County, Tennessee, and began buying land, over 59,000 acres. They sent eviction notices to approximately 3,000 families. Farmers, many of them multi-generational, some whose families had been on the land since before Tennessee was a state. The families were given 2 weeks to leave. Some were given less. They were paid assessed value with no negotiation. They were told only that the land was needed for the war effort. Most never learned what it was used for until the bomb fell on Hiroshima in August 1945. On that land, the Army built a city from nothing in 2 years. By 1945, Oak Ridge had 75,000 residents, making it the 5th largest city in Tennessee. A city that did not appear on any map of the state, that had no public address, that received no mail through normal postal channels, that was not listed in any telephone directory, and whose residents, when asked where they lived, were instructed to say Knoxville. The people building the uranium enrichment centrifuges did not know what they were building. Workers operated specific machines without being told what the machines produced or what it was used for. Security was maintained by compartmentalization. You knew your job and nothing beyond it. When the war ended, Oak Ridge was declassified and appeared on maps for the first time. The families who had been removed to build it were not offered the opportunity to return. 75,000 people, the 5th largest city in Tennessee, invisible for 3 years, built on land taken from families who never knew why. Number 2. Mercury, Nevada. Mercury, Nevada is the service town for the Nevada National Security Site, the location formerly known as the Nevada Test Site, where the United States detonated over 900 nuclear weapons between 1951 and 1992. Mercury exists to house the workers, scientists, and military personnel who maintain and operate the site. It has dormitories, a cafeteria, a gym, a bowling alley, a barbershop, and the full infrastructure of a small town. Approximately 1,500 people live and work there on any given day. It does not appear on public road maps of Nevada. The highway leading to it is labeled as a federal restricted access road. The town itself has never been incorporated as a municipality. It has no mayor. It has no city council. It has no public government of any kind. It is administered entirely by the National Nuclear Security Administration. The people living in Mercury are living in a town with no civic identity, no vote for local government, no public record of their community, a cafeteria and a bowling alley and dormitories on land where the government set off nuclear weapons for 40 years, administered by the agency that still maintains the warheads. Mercury is technically accessible to cleared personnel and occasional authorized visitors, but it appears on no map that any Nevada resident would use to navigate their state. A town that has existed for 70 years and has never officially been a town. Number 1. The Hill, New Mexico. There is a city in New Mexico with a population of approximately 13,000 people. It has a school district serving over 3,000 students. It has hospitals, shops, restaurants, museums, a symphony orchestra, and a ski area. It is the home of one of the most concentrated collections of PhD-level scientists in the world. From 1943 to 1945, it did not exist. Los Alamos, called the hill by the people who lived there during the war, was chosen by J. Robert Oppenheimer and the Army in 1942 as the central design and assembly laboratory for the Manhattan Project. It was on a remote mesa in northern New Mexico, accessible by one road, chosen specifically because it could be completely controlled. The government removed the existing residence, a private boys' school and a handful of ranching families, and built a city. A fence went up around the entire mesa. A post office box in Santa Fe served as the mailing address for thousands of people. The address on every document, every letter, every birth certificate for children born during those 3 years was P.O. Box 1663, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Scientists arrived from universities across the country and Europe. Some brought families. Children were born on the mesa. Those children's birth certificates listed a post office box as their place of birth. Their town did not officially exist. The security was total. Scientists could not tell their families where they were. Mail was censored. Travel off the mesa required passes. The project had a cover story, a Navy electronics research facility that satisfied casual inquiry and no one who mattered. On July 16, 1945, the first nuclear weapon ever detonated exploded in the desert 200 miles south of the mesa. It was designed and built by people living in a city that was not on any map. When the war ended, Los Alamos was declassified and appeared on maps for the first time. The fence came down, partially. Los Alamos National Laboratory remains one of the most secure facilities in the United States. The city around it is a real, open, thriving community. The school district is excellent. The symphony performs seasonally. People raise families there and live ordinary lives on a mesa where the most destructive weapon in human history was designed in total secrecy. The city that built the bomb, the city that did not exist, and the 13,000 people living there now, in a community whose first act was to erase itself from every map in the country. That is what it looks like when a government needs something badly enough to make a city disappear. 12 places. 12 different reasons the government decided the public did not need to know they existed. Some were erased for genuine national security. Some were erased because the people living there were considered less important than what the land was needed for. Some are still erased right now, operational, staffed, functioning. While you are watching this video, on land that appears blank on every map you have access to. The question worth sitting with is not just what they were hiding. It is what it means that they could. That a government can build a city of 75,000 people or relocate the dead from a town it's about to flood or operate a drone war from a Nevada trailer park and the public finds out years later, or decades later, or not at all. Drop a comment below which one shocked you most and tell me, what do you think is still out there right now on a piece of land with no label? Subscribe, new story every single week, and next week we go somewhere the government didn't just erase the map.